Welcome back to Clemhawks. This is Gillis TV here, and today I was just kind of laying down after some workout in the yard, and I thought to myself, could there be another trade scenario for the Montreal Canadiens? They have been doing a lot of good trades, and the Edmonton Oilers. And I thought the one player that, Montreal's been rumored to call Edmonton about is Jesse Puljujarvi. Well, that got me thinking. Who would the Oilers want in return for Jesse Puljujarvi? And a lot of the speculation is Ken Holland wants picks, he wants higher end picks, and that's not going to happen. So I thought to myself, how can this Edmonton Oilers team even get better offensively in a sense and add a guy to that second power play unit that could slide on in the third line, as we all believe Ryan McLeod will be signed as our third line center here in the coming up days or right before the season. And that guy is Johnathan Drouin. And some of you guys might go, we can't afford Johnathan Drouin. Well, I kind of thought about that too, and there is a way to do it, and it's not one for one. This would actually turn into be a three-team trade involving, again, the Arizona Coyotes. Arizona has $23 million in cap space available. They're with their dead cap, they're over 107 million, which is insane. And a lot of people might go look at Cap Friendly and be like, "Oh, he's on the IR." Drouin is on the IR. He had some wrist surgery, I believe I read, and they say he will be back for training camp and all that. So don't worry about that. So the trade proposal I'm doing with Drouin making 5.5, he is on the final year of his contract. Could be a thing the Oilers look at as contract extension for a little less than 5.5 on his next deal. Is you do Warren Foegele and Jesse Puljujarvi for Johnathan Drouin. Foegele has 2 years left on his contract at $2.75 million. Okay, that gets rid of half of Drouin's contract. Well, the Oilers can't take on the other 2.7 that is left on Drouin's contract because they still need McLeod and Yamamoto. That's where Arizona comes in. If you're Ken Holland, trade a third or a fourth. Arizona has, I think saw 3 or 4 first-round draft picks in the next 3 years, 8 second-round draft picks, 7 third-round draft picks in the next 3 years. They're loading up on draft picks. You trade a third from this year and you tell them to take 50% of the 5.5 or the 2.7 or the 5.5 contract, well, you're laughing. You still have the same amount of contract space left right now to sign McLeod and Yamamoto. It would literally take a third round draft pick and Puljujarvi and Foegele to essentially get Johnathan Drouin for free because he would just take the cap space of Warren Foegele's contract. That's not if Montreal takes half of or some cap space either in this trade, which I don't think they will because they do need a little bit flexibility to sign Jesse Puljujarvi. So you go to the Edmonton Oilers, 50% of Drouin's contract with Johnathan Drouin. And to Montreal, you go Warren Foegele and Jesse Puljujarvi. To Arizona, a third round pick with 50% of Johnathan Drouin's contract. That gets the Arizona Coyotes up there a bit in the salary cap room because they have to be over 60 million, I believe. They are at 57. I would have to double check that. They're in the high 50s. That get them past the threshold. This would also get the Oilers a solidified left wing on the third line with Ryan McLeod, and you'd still have enough room for McLeod, and Yamamoto. You take a look at Johnathan Drouin's numbers, and they're not terrible. They're not the greatest for 5.5, but if you look at his stats, let's go see where's his stats on Cap Friendly here. Cap Friendly doesn't show them, I guess. So let's go look up Johnathan Drouin here quickly. Drouin. And you look at his stats. So Johnathan Drouin last season, if my phone works, he played 34 games. He had 20 points, 6 goals, 14 assists. Over the span of his career, he's had 252 points in 427 games. He has 75 goals, 170 assists. He's a playmaker, but he does have a lethal wrist shot that can go in. And I believe him on the third line could solidify the Oilers' offense even more than what it is now. Also, the second power play unit would have another guy on there as well, as Johnathan Drouin has put up points on the power play. You look at his stats, he has 20 power play goals and 85 power play points. Put him on your second unit, we would have the best power play again, one of the better second power play units with Johnathan Drouin. And what did it cost you? Warren Foegele and Jesse Puljujarvi, which the Oilers are shopping Jesse because they don't have enough cap room for all three of those players. This trade would make sense for the Edmonton Oilers and the Montreal Canadiens. They get the younger guy. Foegele is a year younger than Drouin, so they get a bit younger. They fill out the roster, and so on and so forth. But that's just me rambling, as I believe Drouin would be a huge addition to the Edmonton Oilers. And I'll go over the trade again. It would be Drouin coming to the Edmonton Oilers at 50% retained by Arizona, as Edmonton would send a third-round pick to Arizona. And then Edmonton would also send Jesse Puljujarvi and Warren Foegele to the Montreal Canadiens. And you know what? If I'm Montreal, I'm taking that. They have interest in Jesse Puljujarvi. They get 2 years of Warren Foegele, and they make cap space to sign Jesse Puljujarvi and go on from there. And Arizona, yeah, you're taking $2.75 million in cap space, but you're getting a third-round pick. Arizona's in a rebuild mode. They have picks galore in the first 3 rounds of the next 3 drafts. What's one more? As they are going to be a force with all these picks in the next few years. But that's Gillis TV here, right on Clemox. Hopefully you enjoy. I'll catch you on the next one.